This is my algorithm. In fact, it's really my algorithm with David Lippman. So there's three phenotypes of Keinbock. We're all familiar with the adult type. It's more common in males, affects the dominant wrist with a negative ulnar variance, and it tends to be progressive. There's another group, which is the Teenbock, which is only 10% of patients. They're usually males. If it's less than 15, we call them infantile, negative ulnar variance. These patients tend to have a better prognosis and often recover and remodel. Then there's Nanobock, which is the older group, greater than 60. They're nearly always female. They have a positive ulnar variance. They have a radiological deterioration, but their pain's often not severe, so they often need nothing or just an arthroscopic debridement. So the Lippman-Bain algorithm, so we look at A, B, and C. A is age, bone is the lunate, and C is the carpus. We know about from the phenotype, if they're less than 20, they do better, so we try and treat them without surgery. Greater than 70, we treat them without surgery as well. We go non-operative. All patients, regardless of age, are at least offered non-operative treatment with removable splints and maybe anti-inflammatories. When we look at the B, the lunate bone, the lunate would be intact, so it's got basically its normal shape. We would try and unload the lunate and protect it with a radial shortening or capitate shortening. Once the lunate becomes compromised, it becomes more tricky, and we're looking at the concept of a multimodal approach. Once the carpus is involved, so it's no longer just a disease of the lunate, we need to be looking at a motion-preserving procedure, such as a proximal row carpectomy or a scaphocapitate fusion. My academic interest really started with arthroscopy, and this is the classification we published almost 20 years ago, and you can see here that we graded the central column as to the number of articulations. On the left is 0, on the right there's up to 4, and you might notice in the middle there's a 2A and a 2B. So what we identified with this was that if we looked at this articular surface of the lunate and the lunate facet, it's smooth, it's glistening, and in this case we would refer to this as a functional articulation. In contrast, this example here, you can see it's ulcerated and it's irregular, so this would be a non-functional articular surface. We found that all patients had synovitis, so that may be of some value in diagnosis, but it's not of value in grading the degenerative changes or the changes in the carpus. So when we look at the types of the lunate and the state of the lunate, if the lunate's intact, we want to protect it. If the lunate's abnormal, we may wish to reconstruct it, and those cases which are more severe, we may need to look at a salvage procedure. So if the lunate's intact and we want to protect it, and there's a negative ulnar variance, then a radial shortening osteotomy seems to be an obvious choice. And if there's a neutral ulnar variance, then a capitate shortening is a good choice. So the way that we do a capitate shortening, we'll often take a small part of the base of the third metacarpal, we put a cannulated drill down, we perform an oscillating, with an oscillating saw or a side-cutting reamer, we perform an osteotomy at the level of the STT joint, we put the wire back in, and then a cannulated screw. So it's actually an extra-articular procedure. Because it's an extra-articular procedure, it's minimally invasive. With a single cut, the patient only needs a splint and they can get back to activities reasonably quickly. The same concept we've developed for the radius proximal to the brachioradialis and the distal radioulnar joint. We'd like to do the drilling first so that we know that exactly where that drill hole will be and put the screw in it. And again, we can see that the post-operative outcome, the morbidity is a lot better than what we did in the past. So once the lunate becomes, we're looking at doing a reconstruction, I think it becomes more challenging. So there's ways of doing this with cancellous bone graft, the vascularized bone grafts, and I'd like to point out the local pedicle grafts reported by the Mayo Clinic. They're not quite as good as they thought they were in the past, and there are some groups doing free tissue transfer. I think this is a big procedure for a patient with a sore wrist. If we look at this lunate that's been excised as part of a proximal row carpectomy, we can see that there's aspects of the volar and dorsal aspect of the lunate that actually look pretty good. There's new bone formation, but clearly there's subchondral bone plates being eroded, and we can see that there's a false floor and cystic changes. This is an example of the same sort of thing. We can see this floating subchondral bone plate. It has a defect in there. There's an associated fracture. And having looked at all these things and recently published this paper, and knowing that the natural history is a little bit unknown, that some people think radial shortening and radial farage is a good option, I thought that we should re-look at how we manage this, and have developed a concept of what I call a multimodal approach to Keinbock's. And the idea of using a multimodal approach is not unique to Keinbock's. We use it for rheumatoid arthritis, tuberculosis and cancer, and basically aiming to unload, look at revascularization and protection of the carpus. So this is a case of mine with sclerosis of the lunate, an obvious fracture, and arthroscopy we see this impaction on the proximal aspect of the lunate coronal fracture. We've done the radial farage, which increases the vascularity of the entire wrist, a scaphocapitate pin to unload it, and at arthroscopy we've put some bone graft or bone marrow into the fracture. This is a case where we've done this, and we can see that by extending the scaphoid that we've been able to get some improvement in the shape, and I think this patient's got improvement in their pain, but the scaphoid, the lunate fracture had not completely united. This is a different case where we can see we've arthroscopically inserted bone graft using the same concepts that we've used for scaphoid fractures, which have been presented this week. And then we can see in this example, we can see that the bone of the lunate's looking better. There's some bone that's within the mid-carpal joint, which is not ideal, and that's something we can improve. But at longer term follow-up, we can see this lunate has healed and the pain's resolved. So I think this is an important outcome. Once the lunate is unreconstructable, then we need to look at other options. An excision of the proximal aspect of the lunate we've found to be successful, although there is some ulnar translocation of the carpus, but I think this is a good minimally invasive technique. Once the lunate wrist becomes compromised, and now the lunate's really not reconstructable, then I think the role of a proximal row carpectomy, particularly in the older patients in lower demand, or a scaphocapitate fusion in the younger patient to enable there to be better stability. The scaphocapitate fusion can be performed as an arthroscopic procedure with debridement between the scaphoid and the capitate. It's important to extend the scaphoid and insert compression screws across that articulation. Using some of our work on 4D CT scan, we've identified that there are some cases like this volar rim fracture of the lunate. This can now be managed arthroscopically. In the past, we used to get worried about this and to perform a proximal row carpectomy, but there are some cases like this where we've learnt greater information, and this local debridement can be effective. The other example is an ulnar styloid impingement or impaction that can also be managed arthroscopically to be able to manage these cases. So in summary, I think the assessment's important using arthroscopy and imaging. The Lichtman-Bain algorithm, I think, is very useful. Capitate shortening and radial shortening osteotomies are very useful as well. Thank you very much.